everybody. I'm so excited to be sitting here with y'all. It's been forever, like a month or 3 of Sundays since I dropped a video, and I've missed you all. A lot going on in life, but that's a story for another day. But I have been having this strange hankering lately to respond to some of the goings on that I've seen on these internets lately, especially some things that I've been reading and observing as it relates to culture and aesthetics and appearance. And it just so happens that this whole Tuskegee business kind of exploded in the last 24 hours or so at the time that I'm sitting here shooting this video. So I said, why not? Why not come on and give y'all my 22 cents? So if you're new here, welcome. This is where we talk all things well-rounded womanhood, personhood, and the like. And yeah, if you're not new, again, I missed you all. Welcome back. Thanks for coming. So if you haven't been following the news as it relates to Tuskegee, or you don't really reside on that side of the internet, Tuskegee University is a prestigious, historically Black institution of higher learning. And this week, their president, Dr. Mark A. Brown, released a letter. I think it went out to either the parents and the students, or just the students. But basically, they're getting ready to have their largest freshman class in about 32 years, which is really, really awesome. Like, that's really exciting. And they're going through kind of a period of transformation and renewal for the university. And the president outlined several changes, several new rules, code, standards for the university. But the most controversial one, or the one that is causing the most controversy, pertains to the dress code. And I'm going to drop the full letter or a link to a copy of the full letter down in the description bar. But as it pertains to dress codes, he basically said there can be no revealing clothing worn to class or on campus, no bedroom shoes, no bonnets, no durags, and I believe it might have been no pajamas specifically, but if not, implied that you can't wear any of those things to class, to the CAV, not to convocation, or, to campus events. And it also said that students have to come to business meetings dressed in business and professional attire. Now, I realize I'm not old, but I'm officially the old guy in the room. So when I heard that, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't realize that it would become such a hot button, widely discussed issue on social media and everywhere else. And I have my thoughts, but as I've been lurking the threads and even engaging kind of mildly in some of the discourse, I realize this conversation has more layers and it's more nuanced than I ever really considered. And it's not just about how we dress, how we approach the physical manifestation of our culture, so to speak, but I realize this conversation is a reflection of how our social fabric has changed over probably the past 10 years, or maybe 10 or 15 years. In some ways, it's an indictment of how far our concept of community has degenerated. But what really has been tugging at my heartstrings concerning some of these conversations is that it's revealing a whole lot of unmet need. So in terms of my feelings, I'm gonna contextualize it with a little bit of my background. I came from very, 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 very humble beginnings. My folks are kind of regular people. We didn't have a ton of money. My parents aren't the kind of people that like to keep up with the Joneses. They like to look nice, yes, but it was never a matter of having the latest, greatest, newest, going out fresh head to toe to impress everywhere we went. That wasn't really a thing, but they absolutely had a standard that might have been possibly considered conservative for some people. But they had a standard. Their folks had a standard. All four of my grandparents came from either rural or unincorporated Mississippi, but yet they weren't gonna leave the house, quote unquote, looking any kind of way. Like bonnets, durags. Constant and Teresa would absolutely never. As a matter of fact, house shoes, my daddy wouldn't even let us wear backless shoes like mules, slides, clogs, Birkenstocks. He wasn't having any of that. So I grew up having a standard for how we presented ourselves physically in the world. Now, we weren't, like I said, dressed head to toe every single day, dressed to impress, but we were always neat, we were always clean, our hair was always groomed, because I don't necessarily like the whole, anyway, I'll get there. Our hair was always groomed, and yeah, that's what we did. And at school, we had a code of conduct and a doggone handbook and dress code that we had to read every single year, and we had to sign it, and that dress code was enforced. Never thought anything of it. So when I went off to college at a PWI, which I'm mentioning for a reason, I guess I kind of just took that standard with me. And I brought up the PWI thing because PWIs, predominantly white institutions, keep getting dragged into this conversation. But I went to the University of Alabama, in case you did not know. And when I started school in 2004, the early 2000s, our undergraduate numbers were like 26,000 students. 13% of that was non-white, and so I would guesstimate that like 7% of the entire student body was Black or African American. And I remember on campus, the standard white people uniform was a t-shirt, usually like a sorority or a fraternity t-shirt or a Bama shirt or Vineyard Vines, something like that, some shorts and some rainbow sandals and some sunglasses. And if it was cold outside, just swap out that t-shirt for a sweatshirt. And that is what they wore. But as for the Black kids on campus, we dressed. Just for the record, don't let anybody tell you, I don't know what they doing today, but we dressed. And even if we weren't head to toe drip, it might be something casual, but we still look nice. To the point where every single day at 12 noon in the student union, the Ferg, it was Black Power Hour and it was a fashion show. Now, I will admit that I had an 8 a.m. class every semester until I was a second semester junior, like spring of that year. And of course, no, I was not going full head to toe, suited and booted to Dr. Bierman's music history class. Just was not gonna do it. But even then, I usually wore like a very intentional set of sweatpants. I was not ready to do my hair at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever in the morning at that time in my life, especially not when I knew I was gonna go back to my dorm and take a nap. But I did put on a hat. I was not gonna wear my stocking cap or my wrap or my scarf to class. Well, I probably could have worn. I was not gonna wear a bonnet. Let's just put it that way to class. And I always wore shoes to class. But I don't know, I guess, yeah, that was our normal. That was just something that we did. So again, when this conversation came up about a dress code, I found it interesting. Evidently, there are enough bonnets and durags and house shoes and pajamas on campus that there had to be an actual memo to address it. And it just kind of got me to thinking, what happened? Like, how did we get to this place? And that's where I say, like, the fabric of our social surroundings have kind of changed. I know COVID had a profound effect on that. Social media has had a profound effect on the younger generation. But even before Tuskegee came up this week, I saw, like, in my local neighborhood groups, parents complaining that their kids in school had dress codes. And I found that odd because, again, growing up, we always had a dress code. We always read said dress code. We had to sign it, and it got enforced. I realized, like, in the last few years, everywhere I go, I see younger, I will call them kids, teenagers, young adults even, coming out the house in actual pajamas and bonnets and house shoes. And I'm just gonna tell you, I'm not for it, but you know, on your own personal time, if that's what you want to do, I don't recommend it, but you know, what can you do? But I feel like we're losing grip on, like, time and place. For instance, like, we had play clothes and we had school clothes. We had school clothes, we had church clothes. Even if there were varying degrees of formality in terms of our dress, in terms of our appearance, even in terms of our grooming, we still understood time and place. So if you grow up, you know, and you go to the mall in your Joe Boxers, that's one thing. But the understanding that when you come to class, you need to put on something a little more, I'll say a little more formal than pajamas, and the fact that that would be an issue is kind of disconcerting to me, because to the point of the president's letter, they're not trying to hamper necessarily the students' college experience. They're there to prepare them for the next stage in life. And in college, I would guess in theory, you're there in preparation for your professional life. It makes 100% sense to me that they would require you at some point to start practicing the way you will have to move through the world as an adult professional, even in the way you dress. And I know people have been trying to kind of drag respectability politics into this, and I get it. And I get that there are some potential gray areas. Like, for instance, I just mentioned I don't really like the term make sure your hair is combed, because we know that there's a historical context, particularly dealing with natural hair. And if you go generation for generation for generation, there's still a group of people out there that don't feel like any natural hair, any hair that is not straightened, they feel like that's uncombed. And I feel like that's unacceptable, and I want us to get away from that. But I don't think this is it. I mean, you can't show up. I know some full-fledged young adults who either do not know how to dress for an interview or a professional meeting or a networking event, anything like that. They don't know how to dress for that, or they don't own anything. They might have $1,000 worth of J's in their closet, but they don't own one piece of dress shoe from Ross. They don't have one piece. They got the Ivy Park isn't really. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. They got everything else but what they would need for that particular situation. Again, time and place. So it's not just somebody's trying to police my wardrobe. No. I feel like the university is trying to set their students up for success. And it's sometimes like we as adults, I guess, know the importance of stuff because we've experienced it. But I just find it interesting that even some of us adults are like, yes, they should wear their bonnets and durags to school. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. It's just, and then, okay, especially when you get past your gen ed classes, like all of your professors have the ability to recommend you for stuff in general. But when you get into your actual major, your professors eventually are people who will be your colleagues and contemporaries and stuff. Contemporary, that might not be the best word, but they'll be your colleagues. These are gonna be the people you work with in your field. Some of them are still working in their field and they have the ability to recommend you for stuff, put in a good word, help you get that internship, call in a favor here and there. And yeah, you could be the top person in the class or really, really excel and command the material, but you might have somebody next to you in this seat who also commands that material, but they show up looking like, I know somebody that's ready to take an interview today. I can send this person because they have already demonstrated through their preparation what their intent is. And I'm a firm believer that your preparation mirrors your intent. You never know what opportunity is going to become available to you, and you have to be ready to meet it. You know, if you quote unquote stay ready, then you ain't got to get ready type deal. And I feel like that is more so the focus of this policy, developing students who are ready to succeed and seize opportunities in their professional life and presenting that as well to the outside public. But the more I look at these different conversations and try to be open in terms of my understanding of people's gripes, their point of views, I realize that there is a lot of nuance or layers to consider and that we're possibly missing some recipes. So last night or night before last, I was on Threads and I saw one from a young lady where she said don't quote me, y'all, I'm gonna anonymize it right here, that if you were in school 20 years ago, braids weren't $400 to $600. Now, first of all, I'm assuming that this is hyperbole or exaggeration, whichever one of those is correct. But, because I don't know. But I get what she's trying to express. But those of us who were in school 20 years, first of all, adjusted for inflation, braids still would have been pretty expensive, but we also explained that most of us were not paying. We weren't paying to get braids unless you just had it like that, right? This whole going somewhere to get your hair done, I won't say that's a newfangled concept. I won't say that. But those of us with limited resources in college, we did our own hair. We did our own hair, or we did each other's hair. That was what you did. And she made a couple of very interesting points. First of all, she was saying that, a lot of college students don't have the resources, and you're enforcing this thing about no durags, no bonnets, this, that, and the other. What happens to the guy who needs a haircut and can't afford one? Well, back in the day, even as small as our Black student population was, the Payday Playboys had it was somebody cutting hair in the dorm. It was somebody doing braids in the dorm. I had a relaxer, much to my chagrin at the time, but round about that 4-week mark, you could tell the grow out was real. And until I could, get to the point where I needed to get a touch up, I would do my own hair. I did a lot of rod sets, a lot of roller sets, wore a lot of hats, learned for the first time how to wear a scarf, that kind of thing. And then when it came time for me to get a touch up, if I couldn't afford one or I couldn't come home, I had friends who would do that for me. And back in the day, we would trade. If you couldn't pay $100, or it's way less than that back then, but they weren't charging because they weren't licensed or anything like that. But you did give them something, even if it was like, hey, I got some extra meals on my meal plan. Don't swipe your ad card this week. I got you. You worked something out. But she also made the point, which is valid, that a lot of these students who have these skills have learned the value of their skills, and now they're charging because they need the money. I do get that. But again, it's like, do we not have enough skill, barterable skill anymore, to make it worthwhile? And B, have we lost our sense of community to the point where it's possible and where we can, you see, sis is going through something, she needs her hair done, let me hook her up if I got the skill. Bruh needs a line, let me hook him up. My friend over here is struggling, they don't have no gas money. I will, take them to where they need to go, that type of thing. I gathered, at least specifically on the appearance end that we're talking about, that they might not have in this generation that same cultivated concept of community that we had, to where that wasn't as much an issue. Also, furthermore, if you were a broke college student, especially in our case, being at a PWI, the community really did do a pretty good job of surrounding us and making sure we had what we need. I was in the choir, and we traveled almost every weekend, and every church we went to made sure that we would have a free meal. They would be sending us home with all kinds of styrofoam and foil. And I guess the same thing would be true of like, hey, just making sure that if cost is really the issue concerning some of these things, and that's what we're trying to enforce in terms of the standard, really surrounding these kids to make sure that they have what they need to meet it. But even bigger than unmet physical need, she mentioned something. Hang on, I gotta find this. Okay, here's what she said, and I feel like it's a great point. Everyone's situation is different. What if they weren't taught at home how to care for natural hair? Then you're expecting them to have the funds to have their hair styled. Colleges, for a lot of people, is an opportunity to grow. Very true. I know when I was first doing my natural hair, the outcomes of that trial and error, mostly time. Who has 4 hours to waste on hair when you need to maintain academic standing to hold a scholarship? Does the student sacrifice the grades for the hair? And this is the part that really kind of troubled me, and has troubled me in the past for a while, that I feel like we are letting, and I say we as a community, a lot of people my age are parents of college kids now, sending them out in the world unprepared. And that kind of makes me sad, and it makes me concerned, because this is not a new problem. And it's not the last time. College is not the last time that you will have what I call a hair emergency. It's not the last time that you're gonna have a wardrobe malfunction. And it kind of troubled me just even reading the original post that she said, oh, it didn't cost $400 to $600 for braids 20 years ago. And again, we weren't really doing braids like that. We were actually doing our own hair, or doing each other's hair. But we had been sent off to college with the life skills necessary to do our own hair, to make do, to make it work. And it kind of made me sad, this idea that in order to keep your hair looking neat, you gotta not do it, or in order to keep your hair looking neat or whatever, or groomed or taken care of, you have to spend money in order to do it. And I do know a lot of young people who straight up do not. I know old people, grown people who don't know how to do their hair because they never had to do their hair. And so I can see how getting dropped off in this situation without any tools or know-how would be like, whoa. This is editing me, and I am in no way trying to imply that getting braids, weaves, wearing wigs is not doing your hair, because clearly I'm wearing some crochet in this video. But what I am basically trying to say, it kind of saddens me that people feel like they have no options because they don't know that they have options. I hope that I'm conveying that clearly. Now, even still, there are better answers, again, than durags and bonnets. I'm just saying. But it just kind of concerned me that would be kind of the thing. Who has 4 hours to waste on hair when you need to maintain academic standing? By the time you get to college, you probably should have an idea of something you can do in a jam, because again, this isn't the last time that you're gonna face this particular issue. Now, it's a great place to learn. It is a great place to learn, and it's a safer place to learn than when you work in corporate America and you get a last minute call at 5 o'clock in the afternoon that you got an emergency meeting tomorrow. And there's absolutely no way, if your hair isn't already styled or cared for, you're not calling in your beautician for a 12 a.m. appointment. You're just not. You got to figure out how to adjust and make that work by yourself. So yeah, I know that's a lot of rambling, but it has always concerned me seeing kids, seeing even adult people that just never got a chance to, I'll say, develop that kind of resourcefulness. And when I think of that in terms of unmet need, I see such an opportunity. I see an opportunity for those of us who are older, those of us who are on the other side of certain trials, to continue to help and mentor some of our young adults. Like, they're not teenagers anymore, but they still need that guidance. They still need to be shown the way, especially if they did not get that before they got here. And on the other end of it, for young people to, if somebody is willing to give you that guidance, let them give you that guidance. You might think that the university is being unreasonable and hard on you, but hey, they're trying to help you. They're trying to set them up for success. And at the end of the day, there are other institutions to go to. And it is your right to do what you want to, but it is also your right to deal with the outcome. If you feel like that standard is offensive or unacceptable or unattainable, then it is your right to not comply with it, but the understanding that there might be some doors that get slammed in your face, and you have to just kind of understand that that may come with it. Just saying. So again, just in summary, as far as my opinion, I'm on the side of Tuskegee. I don't see anything unreasonable or wrong about what is being asked and the standard being set by Dr. Brown's message, especially not if the university is prepared to offer some guidance, do a little bit of hand holding where necessary, or I'll say a hand up. A lot of universities have closed closets now that allow students to, if they don't have it, come in and pick out what they need in terms of professional attire. I think that's great. If there are ways to build community and connection and surround these kids to make sure that they have the tools or know how to get the tools to take care of said things and can be shown the way, then we're on to something. I was talking to my mother, who did go to an HBCU, Jackson State University, and she said back in the day they dressed, but we also have talked in the past about how HBCUs by nature are known for having a nurturing environment. Like, a lot of the people that I know that chose HBCUs, they chose HBCUs for a lot of the things that were actually outlined in the letter in terms of preparing students and making sure that they have what they need to succeed beyond their education. So I hope they have that kind of thing in place for students. I think it could be a very, very positive outcome. So that said, in terms of me, in terms of this channel where we talk all things well-rounded womanhood, I feel like this is the place where the aunties and the nieces converge. And I want to hear from you all what you think. If you're an auntie, if you are, you know, in a certain place of life, I know some people don't like that term. I want you to feel free to share your wisdom, and I encourage you, even out in the real physical world, to do that. If you see a need and you see somebody that's open to hear it, hey, don't let that wisdom die with you. Share it. Help give that hand up that's needed, because you just never know what tools people do and do not have. And if you're her niece, tell us what you need. Tell us your opinions. Your point of view is valuable. Things have changed in the world. And if there's something that we can help you with, let us know. And be open to it, but let us know. We are here for each other. So y'all, like the video if you like the video. Please do subscribe and turn on your notification bell so you can know whenever I do a post again. I really, 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 really appreciate it. And I'm glad we had this time together. And until next time, do what you love what you do the best you can, take pride in yourselves and each other. Until next time, I'll see y'all later.